5:30, so go ahead and call to order the Waterfront committee at 5:30. Start with your harbor master report, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot going on. They started doing the pylons down there, the dolphins, they're gonna call them. They got one in, but they were down there this afternoon. I think they're waiting for low tide, so I don't know if they're working nights. They might be working the tide. The boat, there was a boat that drifted in, or drug the anchor over from Edgecombe. I dealt with that off and on. I tried to make it an Edgecombe Harbor Master issue, not my issue.
Yeah.
Is
that the one that's in the paper? It was in the paper?
I'm not sure, I don't read the paper, so. But it drug its anchor. And, so. He did go out and try to move it. He couldn't get it hauled out the way he wanted to get it hauled out, so he reached out to me over the weekend. He did put it on the town mooring. He came in yesterday. It's gonna be 3 weeks before the hauler from Rockland can come in, so he paid for the mooring for the month. So that's why it's on our mooring now.
That's not the first time that's happened either, is it?
With this boat it was a different boat. The other one was a different boat, the problem child we had.
Similar looking.
Yeah, it is.
This is the boat on the other side of the bridge.
Yes.
North side now.
So I got a complaint. Or I got a concern from one of the fishermen that he moved the boat, but the mooring was still in the channel. And, so I reached back out to him and he is gonna move he's gonna move the mooring.
You left the mooring on the north side of the bridge?
Yeah. So, but he talked to Terry from Edgecombe. And Terry told him just put the mooring over by Georgia's boat. So he's gonna be working on getting that out of there. Other than that, I haven't had any other issues. Looking forward to seeing the ramp down to see what it looks like.
Yeah, especially if they raise all our fees, so we need a ramp.
You did raise the fees?
Yeah.
Well, not for the launch ramps, we didn't. That was the same as the year before.
I think the biggest thing was
Well, for the commercial.
For the commercial.
Right, for everybody else.
Yeah, for everyone else we did.
So when do those fees go into effect?
They're in effect, we never voted on.
Yep, so, I have it later on our agenda, but in case you leave, I see that we need to update
Oh,
the
and did,
rates.
meant, in the 17 too, I thought about this one. Larry?
All right, any questions or comments on the harbor master report?
Are they gonna be working on that thing this winter?
On
I was down there today,
the launching ramp?
yeah, and it kinda looked like they were kind of done.
Yeah, they drove one of the pilots yesterday. And it
Oh,
was
so
supposed to
they
bring
actually put a pylon in.
yeah, they were supposed to bring the barge today, I don't know if it actually showed up.
They were down there in their truck, sitting in their truck this afternoon, almost low tide, so maybe that's what they're doing, was waiting for the barge to come in.
Nice.
I mean, they just poured that whole concrete.
Yeah, and that's in, obviously.
They are working down there.
And all those floats in the parking lot are gonna be linked to that.
Yeah.
Nice.
They got nice cement pads they're gonna rest on, and they've got low tide, so they don't get beat up constantly.
And they'll pull out those upper things that
Yep,
are
all that other stuff,
hanging
they
in.
pulled a bunch of that stuff out
Started already.
already, yeah.
Gonna be nice. Down the road, I think, isn't it? Yeah,
Long overdue.
we can water ski out of there.
All right, any other questions or comments on the harbor master report? All right, we'll move on to approval of the minutes for December 9th.
Can I have that?
Any corrections for the minutes in December 9th?
This morning, okay, it's.
For motion?
I wasn't here, so.
You were there,
Oh, nice.
no, Frank was there.
Frank, I
Yeah.
don't think I was.
Oh,
Great
it was
with you.
Frank?
Yeah.
Oh, it was pretty good.
Should I have a piece of paper?
They're published on the website. We can,
Okay.
would you like us to read them?
Uh, no, not on my computer.
You wanna make a motion to approve them?
Yes.
Alright. Someone wanna second that, or I'll second it, and, any objections? Alright. Next for business items, so I wanna discuss the upgrades and maintenance of the water infrastructure with Dennis. We discussed last month, doing the electrical evaluation. We recommend proceeding with the minor repairs and code deficiencies and defer the $75,000 in upgrades, the new metering. And wondering what you were thinking about that.
We already had the money to do it, so
Yeah.
it was a pretty easy,
Yeah.
it's a pretty easy thing to not do this year. We do need to do the code violations and the, you know.
The code violations,
stuff
which was-
that-
We voted to go ahead with code
Yeah,
violation.
I thought I put that in the cost in here, but I guess I did not.
7,500 for the code violation.
I think it was 95.
The 7,500 is for the meters, it looks like.
And then there was 75,000.
I thought it was 7,500 for the code 9,500 for the code violations, yes.
And then there was a 35.5 plus 25
Yep, there
plus
was,
15 is sort of the more.
yeah, the 75 total for improved electrical services and receptacles, 60,000 and 15,000 respectively by the two peers. And then a 53,500, oh, that's the decking, 53.5.
I'm looking at the quote here. And it was 95 for the code,
Yep,
35,500 for the whole service on the. Right here, I guess, right? Like that was like a new drop from the pole and like unistrut support panel and all that. Which I don't know how. That's looked like a potential code issue because it said. It would likely be called out by the electrical inspector. I guess they didn't like measure a thing, but you know, the gauge of the wire to know for sure, but it sounds like potentially. And then the other one sounded a little more nice to have. Less code violation. Ask.
So we'll go proceed with the 9,500 in the code deficiency repairs, is that,
My plan was just to get that fixed, and
yeah,
then
and then everything else.
everything else, we would either try to do another capital request for this year to get done. Or we can see what, you know, grant money is available out there, but I think getting the launch ramps done and getting at least some of those floats repaired or replaced.
Mhm.
Should be the priority for what's left over. This year, we're not gonna get all of them replaced. Ted would like to replace them with Candon. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. I certainly would get more done than.
I think we should. I like the Canada system.
I'm, I have some reservations about the CAN dock for the commercial docks. Just based on.
Is that the low plastic ones like we've got on the record?
Yeah. Now, I can tell you Southwest Harbor loves to co-op uses these,
Yeah,
and they have for some years.
no, I'm not like 100% against it, I'm just. I feel like we should. Maybe just weigh the pros and cons carefully and before we just jump right into it, that's all. I'm not saying I'm dead set against it, I'm just saying I've. Gotten. Seems to be some mixed review from some of the other fishermen stuff down there. And like, I'm at least concerned. I'm not really happy with how the tie rails turned out on the new ones, so we, like, at the very minimum, I think we should figure out a better system than those, the 2x4s that they screwed down.
I agree.
But I think even beyond that, I think there's some other concerns that are valid that we should at least just. You know, do a. Organized organize our thoughts with some pros and cons and wait, maybe put some numbers on paper to sort of decide rather than just sort of hurriedly making a decision, but.
The only concern I've heard is the getting off a boat, they're lower.
Yeah,
Other than that, I haven't heard a lot of concerns.
I think traction is another concern, just one that comes off the top of my head.
I've been on it when it's been wet, I haven't always good traction.
That's the only thing I've heard is they're awful slippery. That's the only thing I've heard.
Yeah.
Slippery and wool.
I've heard people complaining that probably never even stepped on them before.
Right,
Well, I think,
right, probably,
I think that's the biggest problem, the stigma, there's a stigma about them, that they're flat.
they never, right, they never use them, so how do they know?
I've been down there in the rain and all that, I've never had a problem, maybe it's my footwear. We asked in Rockland, we went and looked.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any issues with them. It's, cause they thought they were gonna be slippery, remember?
Right,
And they said they weren't, so.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking in my head, if the railing system didn't work out well, we could design something that actually had a step. That people get off the boat could step on and then step down onto them and stuff.
Maybe we could just look into like the cleats that doesn't, I guess, the step would solve aloneness, right? But
right.
I think at the very least, we should just sort of look at all the different cleat options again and reassess that part of it.
I don't know that there were a lot of options, and I know I talked to Ted about it, and then we reached out, is it Sean? I guess they kind of threw those cleats on as an after thing.
Well, I think, honestly, I think I was the one that brought up the concern of like, instead of having looks like the other option is a small stainless cleat, it's every like.
I suspected.
Like every 6 feet or something like that, or it was even more than that, but it was like, it seemed like it was gonna be tough, especially with a whole line of dinghies all tied up. And normally you do the rails.
Right.
And then the execution of the rails was a little lackluster, so they could still do rails, we're just gonna have to do it a little better.
I mean,
I think to be fair, we requested the rail system, that's not what they normally do. So we could either do the rail, or we could see what they offer, and I mean, especially for the commercial pier, I mean, if we could somehow get input from people who are gonna use it rather than install something that.
I mean, I don't think the
Yeah.
cleats like you're talking about would work very good. I think a big 3-inch, 4-inch ring with a galvanized bolt going down through the plastic and reinforced underneath, so they've got, a big ring they hook to every 6 feet, 5-6 feet.
Yeah,
So, how you say those small cleats are gonna take a very big rope,
yeah, or the other issue is if you've got a lot of, so on the recreational pier, it's not so much of an issue, because you don't have a ton of dinghies out there, but like on the commercial piers, it's pretty thick with dinghies, and people are gonna be fighting over a cleat. They got to uncleat someone to cleat your, like to get yours, someone cleats on top of yours, and then you're trusting someone else to retie it, like. So I don't know what the right solution is, but I think we should just go look at what other towns have done for that, or the rails will work, there's just a better way of doing it, because I think we asked for it, they sort of threw it together it had never been done. Like, I think there's better ways of doing it that could work, but the current situation, I don't think is good enough.
I mean, maybe we do the rail, is that something we could do ourselves, like Ted could potentially do if the docks were installed, could he install rails that were more sort of liking?
So what you're saying is have like a,
Besides the fact that the rails keep getting loose and have to be tightened down, that's the thing I was bringing up. Was there another issue with the rails?
With the rails overall?
Yeah,
No, I mean, on the old wood floats, they're great, but they're 4x4s and they're lag bolted, I mean, it's a.
no, but I mean, the ones that, the new ones, the plastic float, but what's the other issue with the rail?
The rails specifically, or just in general?
The rail specifically.
It's mostly that they're physically shaky, but also just in terms of like, I'm not sure I would trust them strength wise. So it's mostly a strength, safety.
Oh, so, and that was the issue I was having, they kept getting undone. too, and they were
Yeah.
rattling.
But even when they're tightened, they're being tightened down on like a hollow plastic container, so they're pretty flexible no matter what. Another minor issue is it's a 2x4 on top of a 2x4, so it doesn't leave a lot of room to get your rope up underneath, so it's a
Right.
little hard. But
So you basically need a 4-inch block
need 4 inch.
every 5-6 feet, and then have your 2x4.
And some more rugged anchors.
So I don't think we could iron that out, and if
I
we
think
only
so.
need the rails for the dinghies, then maybe we do rails. Where the dinghies are, cause those don't put much load on it.
Yeah.
We do some sort of cleat or eye bolt or.
Eye bolt would be-
See what
Yeah.
products we can use on that.
Well, the thing is, if you're gonna do that and they're hollow, you're gonna have to drill down through and have some anchor underneath.
See, I thought most of the anchor points were at the joint between the the blocks.
Right.
So that you're not compressing
A flotation device, right,
you're compressing it's like plastic lugs, so you can
Right.
actually clean it tight.
right, have something, PT 2x4 underneath or a chunk of metal or something to really have some beef so you can tie a bolt in, it'll take a little bit of weight.
Is there a deadline for just like making a final decision? Is there like?
So we had. Other than the electrical, we have the decking replacement for the recreational field with an estimated cost of 53,500. That I kind of assume is not gonna happen anytime soon.
I think, no, we're gonna have to prioritize at least this part of money where it's gonna go.
So we're looking at.
The estimate for the floats, I believe, for all of the floats was somewhere in $170,000.
160.
Which we're not gonna have anywhere near enough.
And that is for replacing them pallet with pressure treated or.
That was pressure treated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, the CANDAC system was it like 40% less or something like that?
Yeah, somewhere around there, it was close to half.
Yeah.
But I don't wanna go. I don't wanna go on the cheap, just to go on the cheap.
Yeah.
I wanna go on the cheap if it's gonna work.
Right, longevity versus, right,
So,
If it's not gonna work out with the, and like I said, they're being used in commercial, so.
yeah,
Um,
can we do them, what, one section at a time? I mean, the CANDOC seems pretty modular, could we take the worst float and do one?
Yeah, that's what we'd end up doing, whether we do that or not, we just pick the worst floats and get
I
this.
feel like a transition between the wooden and CANDOC would be tricky. You could do left side, right side or something. Yeah, like one side of the pier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if it would be, I mean, you might just step from wood to CANDOC, you might step down a couple inches, but.
Yeah. Just figuring
I don't
out.
wanna create more tripping hazards and more.
But getting the hinges, I'm just thinking like getting the hinges between the pins between the old wood dock and the CANDOC all lined up. Maybe I could.
Yeah, and I know I've been to marinas where they have like the main walkway, like
Yeah.
a 4 foot wide wood one, and all the finger piers are some sort of CANDOC type system, but
Yeah.
it's been years since I've.
And we can. The lesson I got out of this last grant was I applied for the grant after we bought the stuff. And they approved it, but they were like, next time,
Yeah.
come to us first. So we can apply for another grant. The odds of getting one this year are going to be fairly low. Given that we got one last year, depending on how many grant applications they get, so, that might help with. Some of it.
My other concern, not to be throwing negatives at the CANDOC, is really not my intention, but it's the one thing we have to figure out is the weight capacity where the ramp lands. It's like on the recreational where it lands is, I was talking to the guys from whoever put them in, I was chatting with them.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, like this ramp's a little too heavy for it, and they put down a chafe plate, but where it lands, that dock goes, "Ooh," and it's pretty low where that is. They must have a way of dealing with that, but like somehow beefing up the dock where the ramps land, I think will be necessary too. So I just think that there's a few there's just a few design details, some refinements that will need to be like thought through a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think it could work. I'm not saying it couldn't work.
Well, you mentioned deadline. I mean, I don't have a hard deadline on anything. The deadline that we'll run up against is, finding somebody that's actually gonna be able to do it.
Right.
The further into the spring we get, the more work they.
So if-
Line up.
If we applied for a grant for this, would we do like a grant for small sections or would we do a grant for the whole thing?
I mean, we could do it in sections. But how we apply for the grant's gonna be up to us, but.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, if we applied for a grant this past year, we got it. And that makes us less likely to get a grant this year. Then we probably would wanna apply for a grant like every year as we're doing each piece then. If it's gonna,
Typically, it's the whole thing, right?
It would typically be the whole thing, but we could do it in pieces.
More often,
so we could get the whole grant and then we could 1 year do part of the grant and
it'll
then.
take longer.
Well, one of the things that I was thinking of sort of a workaround. I know it'd be a little bit tongue in cheek, but, we got the money for the recreational pier last year. If we were to apply for the grant for the creamery and the commercial pier, technically they're two different piers. Same town, but I don't know. That was my angle if I was gonna apply for it.
That's it.
It did pass it, so.
What would the grant for the premier be?
Well, I thought I was gonna apply for I thought you guys you had some upgrades to like electrical work,
Yeah, electrical needs to be done.
yeah. So that's what I was gonna apply for, but I see that you have some changes to that, but.
And there was a maximum.
Yeah, there's a 50-foot match, so I don't know.
50% match, but I think, was there a maximum to the maximum?
Yeah, 250,000, yeah, so I did the math of creamery and commercial. That would be 235,000 with the work, divide that by 2, that would come up to 117,500. And I don't know how much money we got salted away, so.
Well, nothing towards what you're talking about. For the electrical, even with a grant, we don't. 50% we do, by the time we get done paying for the launch ramps. With what we have in the. Well, this isn't too much, we're gonna have about $70,000 left over. Once we get done with the launch ramps and what we paid for the electrical.
For just the 9,500 part for like,
Yeah.
Is, not to go back to that again, but is the 35,500 that's called out for the service, the actual drop from the pole, is that not considered code, like?
He didn't flag it as code, so.
Cause it seems, I don't know, reading this, it says. This will more than likely be called out by the electrical inspector, it sounds like me potentially an issue, but. I guess if it's not,
And then one question we had, I just was thinking, if we were to do any of this work, it would go out to bid, right?
It would depend, yes, if we're gonna do the floats, we would go out to bid, unless you're gonna do the can dock, then we have to go to Proc, so they're the ones who do it. But if you're gonna do wooden floats, then you go out to bid. This work that they're doing out there, we tried to go to bid on, it just wasn't, took us, 2 years to find somebody to do it. It's just as hard now to try to find somebody to do something as it was 2 years ago.
So
It's just frustrating as all get out.
So basically, as we're coming into this new season, we still haven't got anything addressed across electrical on the creamery yet.
no, we would be doing we would repair the,
What needs to be repaired?
We repair the stuff that he identified as code violations that
Right,
need
yeah.
to be repaired.
Yeah.
But anything beyond that, I mean, yes, if you guys feel that we should do that and not do the floats, then, we're only constrained by the amount of money that we have.
Floats are pretty important.
I think the floats are actually, at least for this year, are, in my
More
mind,
important.
are
Yeah.
more important.
I think they're far more important, especially considering how few vendors. I mean, unless we had a sudden surge in
Yeah, that's
new
not-
vendors.
not
I mean,
this
as
year.
long as we've got dependable electric for our vendors on the creamery pad. We should be okay, cause,
Yeah,
I mean, have we ever had the, a recreational pier addressed yet on the,
it's a study.
that was part of the 9,500 is the outlets on the both piers, it looks like.
okay,
That was 15,000 for the the rec pier, if I recall.
It doesn't seem to work out on the creamery pier as far as having someone do something. I'm not saying that every time, but more often.
Right.
I mean, we spent a lot of money on it
Right.
and it hasn't worked out
Well,
yet,
I just think,
but,
I think we haven't been clear with,
but there is a reason for that. Is it because of corrosion
right,
on that pier? We replace stuff constantly because of it. And there's a reason for that.
yeah,
And to have the town spend a ton of money on it. And then all of a sudden, within a year or year and a half, it didn't work out.
so. Like what Dennis said, we're gonna adjust our codes on the creamery to get the power up and running properly, so when we charge people for electrical service, it works,
If there's anyone there.
right, if there's anyone there, so it works. And are we gonna have a tenant on the recreational pier this year? As a,
Don't have a plan for it at this moment
okay,
that I'm aware of.
okay. So then we don't have to meter that if there's no tenant there. Okay,
Well, even if we did, the question is it cost effective for the town to be spending $15,000 to $20,000 to meter for one vendor who doesn't even bring in money, it doesn't even bring in $3,000 income for the town?
right,
And they paid a electrical bill last year that seemed reasonable. And this recommended all sorts of things that they would need to do what they've already been doing there for years, so.
Yeah.
That didn't make much sense to
Yeah.
me.
So I think the floats is what we need to look at, and I just need to. A recommendation from you guys as to what direction you think you wanna go with this,
With the floats?
and it doesn't have to be tonight.
Do you think putting out, asking for bids for all types is kind of a waste of time, because you don't expect to get anyone other than Canada?
We got several bids the last time we went out to bid, we had
They're all,
six, 7. Something like that.
My preference is for us to bid it with both CanDoc and traditional,
The
and
traditional are gonna be more expensive, they just are.
Is there an option to do some sort of like public discussion where we get the bids in and we have a meeting that's. Posted for the public to come so that people who are concerned about what the commercial docks are gonna look like can attend, or?
We can go to bid and have a discussion right here in this committee.
Yeah,
I know in the past, in the eighties, when I was working at the highways, we'd pull the bolts, lock them up. And I'd bring a fire truck down, put my rain suit on, and crawl underneath it and blast it, clean, and then paint it with the red oxide bottom paint, but I don't know, and that lasted really well. But I don't know what the new regulations with the river,
I don't know if they can or
if
not.
that's available anymore or not.
yeah.
It sounds like most everybody's going to this new dock system, Dennis, or like he was saying. You know, I know we got 15 years of a boat anyway, where we're only getting about 4 or 5 out of one now. I mean,
Oh,
but,
it's gotta be more than that, because the commercial floats have been there since I worked for town. And I worked for town for 7 years, so,
okay,
it's some more than that anyways.
yeah.
I know
See, the
they're not-
difference is now they use a lot of pressure treated, where back then, all we used was hemlock.
Yeah.
And we have to spray them down in the fall, let them dry all winter, and then get underneath there in the spring and repaint them all. You know, before we launch them over again. But that's labor intensive, you know? Where if we can just use these poly ones and they're gonna work for us. You know,
Hemlock was tough,
hemlock stuff. Lasts a long time.
and they downplay it, say, oh no, that doesn't work, well, it does work. I
So
have
long with
walkways
hemlock.
of my own,
So low with hemlock works.
15, 18 years old,
Yep.
and if you dry them out, they last. All those commercial piers, all had hemlock on, 'em, all of them.
I'm definitely torn in terms of like, maybe there's some compromises going with something like Can Doc, but the amount you can get done, you know, for the amount of money, you know, we could replace all the commercial, like, and probably add an extra finger on the left side, like we've been talking
I was
about.
just thinking what you said about having a place for the ramp to land, making a 8 foot traditional
Yeah,
float for there, have that land on the plate and then put your can out, you know, whatever out. I didn't know if that might,
yeah, there might be some
That probably could be an option.
you know, if the other platforms aren't holding up with the plate, like you said.
yeah. Well, it's holding up, but also just weight wise,
Right.
but yeah, it's like,
You know, a conversation with some of the fishermen down there would probably go a long ways to us.
Right.
So if
Like,
we,
totally.
yeah, if we put it out. Before we put it out to bid, should we see if we can have Brock come here? And meet with some of the fishermen, see if we can get in contact with them, and that way, if we're gonna put it out to bid or anything like that, we can say what we want. We want a can dock system with a landing dock, like you discussed, or.
Right. Or maybe they can do
I'm sure you would
keep your,
and meet, you know, if you wanted to have a meeting, invite fishermen to come. I'm sure that we could get them to come.
I reached out to them for the, Waterfront resiliency public meetings, and I've never heard anything back from them. I don't know, Blue, if you would be able to.
I mean, I know a couple of the guys that I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm sure Jody would come. And then, there's AJ's, name of the guy that does the green crabs, and, George, and, I don't know, I think we get a couple of people in the room for some feedback.
Is that whole entire deck structure on the commercial pier, that's stable, isn't it?
There's
Is
some,
there parts of that that
there's
are
some actual planks that are starting to rot through.
some planks?
Totally, there's a few places you can put your foot through.
Right, but not the whole entire deck.
No, but I imagine that's indicative of everything else will be too far.
How about the cement part of it?
So, no, I think that's fine, like the higher pier where the derrick is and stuff.
Right, I mean, where the place,
Where you actually can drive a car up onto.
right,
I think that's
that's pretty stable.
I don't think there's any issue.
Yeah, I think that.
But everything to the left is,
Oh, we're talking about the floating
oh,
docks.
no, I'm talking about the main structure on the decking itself. On the piers, the two piers that take the floats down.
Oh, I think that's what the 50-something thousand per week.
Right, that was for
Yeah,
the wreck here.
right. We're talking the floating docks. That,
Right,
like,
I'm asking about the main pier.
yeah,
The main pier itself, is that all marginal and spongy?
I mean, it's not as bad as the floats, but I'm not sure. I'm not the one to speak to that so much.
So
Well, the cement part is not,
That's fine.
right?
So I had Haley Ward look at it when they did the scan of the piers for the waterfront project. And that Haley Ward's the engineering firm that did that report. And I asked them to look at it for like structural integrity, all the piers. And they didn't see any real problems, but it wasn't a full assessment, but they did look underneath the piers.
Right.
And they had an engineer that they have on staff look at it, and he didn't see any red flags, let's put it that
I
way.
think the immediate concern maybe was more of the walkway that connects the commercial to the
Yeah,
recreational being washed out, and you brought that up a few
Alright,
times.
well, that
That should be
should be something a little different.
That's kind of like a whole other kettle of fish we have.
Yeah.
But that's part of what would be addressed is this water resiliency.
Right,
As to what we need to do to stop that from happening.
The last meeting I went to, they were already back up and going. I said, wait a minute, what about the cement wall we're supposed to be putting in there? They had nothing on that. And they said, well, we'd have to take out that walkway. I said, I take the damn thing out and I'll put it back again, because I seldom see people using it. But if you're gonna go from one place to another, most people go down to the parking lot and walk over. Now, if you put their wall up, you know, they're talking about going up, you know, a couple hundred years and what's gonna get covered with water. They didn't mention that seawall at all, that's important.
It was
And they can
updated.
put that up with a 4 foot wall.
They updated it.
For the commercial docks, if we arrange a meeting with Brock and some of the commercial users, Dennis, would you try to do that like down there sometime during the day, or would you think it'd be better to do it at a committee meeting here?
Well, the trouble with, you know, you can try it during the day, I don't object to that, but I don't know that many of you guys could be there during the day. I don't know that it's necessary, I mean, everybody's pretty familiar with what's there,
Yeah,
so.
so if we had, I'll try to see if we could get that arranged for our next meeting here then.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think people are kind of familiar with the waterfront committee, like, have a rough idea of like, it exists, like,
Yeah.
keeping that consistent.
and then, we just kind of mentioned it, but something I just wanted to get out there was anything we do, I think for the commercial stuff. The commercial piers, the launch ramp, all that, I mean, we already need to do that, we're already working on that, but like the deck replacement. And even these major electrical repairs, it seems like we really need to work with Waterfront Resiliency Group, because. They have much grander vision going on, and I like replacing the deck on the recreational pier for 50-something thousand, does it make sense if. The plan is to. Get rid of that, or whatever they have in mind, raise it.
Well, they plan on raising it, right? Yeah.
So I applied for a grant, should find out actually this month. The first step of the recommendations here to, pay for the department and engineering and design work to basically, get us to elevate all the piers right here. So if we find out here in a short while, about that, I'll let you guys know, and then we would put that out to bid, you know, find an engineer to design it. And how much it might cost, to raise those piers, so, and deal with the seawall that Bill was talking about.
Great.
Once then we can bid that out to find a contractor or find another grant, you know, to pay for them.
I thought the report said that the creamery pier was fine. It was stable, it was high enough for the next, God knows how many years.
That creamery pier.
And the only one that was an issue was
I think it was just the connecting walkway.
the connecting walkway.
I think so. I think they were talking about upgrading the
And the
walkway.
recreational pier, commercial rack, yeah.
And then as the next lowest hanging, it would be connecting that to the creamery with another walkway.
Right, and my concern is we've got an underutilized creamery pier, we're talking about upgrading all this electricity. And if we have to raise that, you know, we need to be looking at a much improved overall waterfront plan versus just raising the piers we have here. And, you know, I mean, we should be looking at things like building them outward, even if we can, the way they used to be. I mean, we've let our piers shrink in size. You look at the photographs and the diagrams of what the waterfront was before they tore down the pier buildings and all that. And like I brought out at, I think, one or two of the different meetings, including the waterfront, the other waterfront development meeting, is looking at reestablishing more of a true harbor like we had at one time, and putting some structures up that can be multi-use component structures, at least one that could serve as an opportunity for us to have enclosed concerts, farmers market in the cold weather season, musical venues, talks, whatever. On that first level, it could be all open concept. Then the upper level of that, it would look on the outside like a traditional, you know, waterfront warehouse. And then on the upper level, you could have vendors. All in place in booths they could rent from the town. So we have this multi-use structure that, you know, serves the greater good. And we build a pier out accordingly to and have better dockage. I just think if we're gonna go for a grant, we should be looking at visioning grants for the waterfront versus just raising levels.
That's the other grant that's opening up, right soon. But they put in their phase 3, but it's actually more like phase 2. They call it develop town waterfront and site plans. And that would be, include like a waterfront master plan, and that would also assess townwide parking needs. And then develop a site plan for like the town landing. Like which would go where,
Right.
and then also, because we might have to move the town dock,
Right.
to spend all the money on. So that would help us with all that.
Is Haley Ward all wrapped up with that first assessment now? Is that what pretty much had that for done?
Yeah, they're trying to get us a report, but they should have it ready by March.
That was my next question. Do we have, like, is the report like available yet? But
Yeah,
We're gonna have a meeting on February 11th at 9 AM.
to just to
What they-
present
they-
the final.
The final before they present it to the
Yeah.
public.
And then once that's done, they'll present it to the select board
Yeah.
after that, or?
well,
So they say public, I'd rather put it to the select board before the public.
well, missing the meeting that is for the 11th, you're all welcome to attend. It's just for it's called the planning group. It's, it would be like the waterfront climate action team. That group that's been meeting regularly with them. And then on the March 3rd select board meeting agenda, that was their plan to make the final presentation. But as soon as I get the report, we're supposed to get a report, by the end of the month.
Well, once that report's in, I mean, I just think it would make sense to coordinate with them, before we can make the repairs, and it's all a little confusing, because they talk about raising the commercial pier and the interior pier, and then they also talk about getting rid of the town landing.
Yeah, I think that
I think there's a lot that's still getting developed and figuring out what they're gonna do. I mean, they're planning on getting rid of the boat ramp too.
I think that was further down.
They wanna bring
Let's put it
it
down.
up 4 feet. And that has a problem with the railroad tracks there.
Yeah. So,
And that's gonna screw up the putting your boats in and all. You
I
know,
think there were different, there were
I don't
different.
see the problem with the ramp would just go up another 4 feet maybe, but I know that there's still, it seems like there's still a lot to figure out.
You're not gonna be able to build the road.
Right.
So that's a problem.
Well, they're just trying to finish the scope of the work that they got. You know, they're almost on to wrapping up the scope of work that they were being funded for. Any further work, it's gonna be another grant or another contract.
It sounds to me like you do the electrical, it's a code violation, that's a no-brainer. The floats for the commercial stuff, we can decide on that, and that's obviously not effective, we can use those regardless of what happens to all the piers.
Exactly.
And then we just wait for the final report and recommendation.
Yeah.
To see, make a decision from there, and coordinate, but until we have the final information from there, we don't need to like make a decision right now, and until we get the information, we pay Taylor with
I
for
mean, all these recommendations are great from this outfit, but until somebody addresses parking in this town. Yes, no,
I think that's part of it.
They're part of that waterfront master plan,
I
and
mean,
so,
they've gotta have some parking, they've gotta go from the bridge all over the sewer treatment plant and build that.
I don't know, I heard at the select board meeting the other night, we don't have a parking problem.
We don't.
Is that what that woman said?
Who said that?
Isn't that what that woman in the back said
Oh,
the other day?
oh, yeah, well, she was saying they could. She
Wait,
was
you
like
live in
on
Edgewood?
Summer Street, they can park up there, and there's plenty of parking, yeah.
Okay.
Right now, the 2 cars parked on that, I go there on that street every day. When I come from the post office, I go
Yeah.
around, and there's cars parked there, you got a whole place to
We
slide.
lost, nearly 50% of the available public parking when that MDOT project went through.
You gained 36.
No, we didn't gain anything.
Yes, you did.
Not really. We already had unpaved parking lot that we controlled.
Right.
And we had a handful of new parking spaces added at the cost of tearing down the structure that could have been used for other things.
And we lost all the parking on Main Street.
Yep, and we lost almost
back.
all of it on
Thank
Water
God.
Street. And we lost almost all of it on Water Street and about half of it on Middle Street. So I disagree. I can show you the plans, I can show you the maps of what we had before it happened.
Well, regardless, parking is part of what they're talking.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I mean, I think
Where they, where they plan on putting this parking without?
They haven't paid it yet, that's the next phase, okay?
this is a plan to make a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Out around the bridge.
I've never.
So moving on from the waterfront and the infrastructure stuff, at the last select board meeting, the recommended waterfront fee changes were approved. So I was just looking around, we have a couple places that I found that fees are posted. The pier policy and then the waterfront page and all the associated forms on that are all on our government website. Who would be responsible for
The
changing?
waterfront fees are on your committee page.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You're wondering like who made the actual changes to the website and stuff, right? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, so if you go to the waterfront page, there's a couple different fees and they're all now outdated. So who would be responsible for changing
I
that?
don't know what you're seeing, but that was updated several days ago when.
Oh, I mean, I looked at it, I think maybe,
Yeah, they look current I looked at it this morning, they look current.
Are they complete? Like, do they have all the?
Is that something?
so maybe it just doesn't have all the fees then. So I got to. Maybe I did, yeah, so commercial's still 300 for the year right on the website.
I'm looking over here, James.
What did that get up to? Not all we changed was the off-season dockage.
No, we changed, it's $100 per launch now for commercial.
Oh, I think when they say commercial in this case, it means the commercial, like the derrick.
Oh, I
the
see,
derrick,
yeah.
derrick.
Under the waterfront department.
I don't think that. On the website, I don't think that's pertaining to the lawn.
I would think. We can update that, this regardless, we don't have to spend time on that.
And then there was some other stuff on the peer policy. So we have a 2024 peer policy. Here, I'll wait for Dennis to come back, that would need to be updated to 2025.
So is there any reason you as chairman, with the approval of Dennis, couldn't change anything on our feed, on our webpage?
I don't know how to edit our webpage.
Normally, I think Catherine on a rod over.
Yeah,
Here, Dennis, can do it, yeah.
yeah, and
Well,
then,
you would think it would take out a lot of the.
Well, what happened was. We were able to access it initially, and then the system got all
It didn't work good?
bumped up.
Yeah.
So the decision was made by town management to keep it internal again.
Okay.
I mean, having too many people all trying to edit the same webpage does.
Well, no, we've been uploading reports, got.
so, and then what I, on here, should a full rate sheet be published on the waterfront page? So, going back and forth, trying to figure out what the current fees were was a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Leading up to this, we now have a form that has everything outlined on it.
Are those fees that were approved?
What time is that meeting, Aaron? What on the 11th?
I don't have it, but I can share it with you.
Is that the normal 8:30 in the morning one or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I still get the
This was
emails.
all-
9 a.m. to change.
All new.
Yeah. I send that over.
Charter vote, yeah, so this is the new peers, that's the new peers, the new fees.
Those are the new fees.
Yeah.
I just printed them off the website.
We're gonna
Oh,
fix
I
it.
would say, if you go to wisconsin.gov and click on water, it says
The department.
annual boat launch permit.
I can change that.
Where do you find that out?
Within document, there's a committee page and there's a.
Oh, no, the committee page has it on it.
Committee page.
Could we just put a link to that document right here on the waterfront?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it's all the elements.
Because I think even these, there's 4 bullet points with the different fees that I think are a little misleading, because just as commercial.
Yeah,
300,
if
which-
I'm looking to check out our waterfront, I'd probably go to
Yeah,
waterfront page.
we can,
And I didn't even realize that they were on our committee page, so.
Yeah, if we could just blow away those 4 bullet points, just put a link to that.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
easy.
that'd be great.
All right, that's all for the agenda. Does anyone have any new business? All right,
And I can do that before I leave tonight.
Oh, yes, there, it's actually, it's in a way, but planning ahead. Forgotten recipes.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see him again.
Absolutely, but we've gotta make a decision or.
Well,
we've
didn't you
gotta-
have somebody that was interested in that building?
Yeah.
So the question in my mind was, okay, so the structure is owned by a vendor we're not gonna see again, we're not able to meet him, or we're not able to contact him successfully. But at the same time, he is in arrears, having not paid his fees last year. And we've got a structure. Can we lease it out to somebody else and condemn the contents, or? I mean, the question is, what do? We can't just let this thing sit there unoccupied with the name and not being able to use that space.
So I think I went through this with the attorney with the ice cream shack as to when it would be considered abandoned. And if I wanted, I'd have to really dig back, but I wanna say it was 3 years.
Yeah.
Before you could do anything.
Well, it's been at least 2 years, really.
He did not pay last year.
No,
No,
and he only paid half the year before. So,
I don't think he'll be back.
no, I certainly do not expect him to be back.
I mean,
I don't even know where he is again now.
I'm not positive, but he's
so the
right down to
question,
the wire.
besides addressing that legal, is the question is, we need to at least think about moving it, because it's like right there front and center. And if nobody can utilize it or access it, then should we be shifting it off to the side somewhere? So,
I'll move it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we talked to the people that was interested in it? What they would?
I can reach out to them. I mean, there are local people that they like to sell boats or,
That's right.
so she chat, I think, river boats or something. It's kind of like a Zodiac, you know?
oh yeah, I remember them expressing interest.
Yeah, I can reach out to them again.
But can we,
If they don't do something with it, then we'll figure out how to at least. I don't really wanna take it off the pier because I don't know what the liability is for us there if we damage it or.
but we could potentially utilize it,
So at least,
I don't know. I mean, off the top of my head, the only recourse we can would be to pay work. And I don't foresee doing that.
no.
Could just take it off the dock, off the pier, and put it in the little parking lot by the dumpsters.
That creates a bigger problem.
I've just moved.
I would try that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that simple
No, and
to get that off that dog.
it took quite some time to get the last one out of that area, so.
What's Deeker's place?
Yeah,
Deeker would like to move up.
that'd be a perfect spot for her.
And
And we
back,
can roll,
and back more.
we can roll that
Yeah.
recipes back and over to the side.
Yeah, if we could at least relocate it, if
We
we
can
can't.
relocate it behind the train car off to the side
Mhm.
until we can find from legal what to do with it,
Right,
and then we
Well,
can.
let's
then
reach out to these
figure
people
out.
and see if they actually wanna do something with it.
I thought the thing,
Right. I mean, the thing is,
but,
So,
no, I know, and,
I mean, the
you
thing
know,
is,
I haven't even talked to him, and I don't even think that's even gonna happen. I suspect, and I could use it something a little different than what he used it for, and, Deidre, who up front,
well, see, that's it, returning vendors have first priority
and I'll find
on
out
empty spots.
if she actually wants to do it.
Right, and then we could move him back behind the way and then move her back, you know?
Right.
Like, move her down front, more visibility.
I mean,
If she's there all the time, she's a great vendor,
right,
you know, she's another vendor like Sprague's, are there all the time. You know, and that's what we need more like her.
I mean, we could move that thing even back even farther.
Right.
But anyway, so let's talk about that.
well, let's find out if they're interested in it. If they're not, then we'll
Okay.
revisit it and see what we.
I mean, you can take the thing
Even
off.
if they are interested, it's still probably leave it around and make it.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah, if she's,
We can't rent out the building though.
No,
No, I'm just asking that for clarification.
no, we can't.
Okay.
If we don't own it, so
Yeah,
that
right.
becomes
and
an
the thing
issue that
is,
I would have to talk with.
and the thing is, if they're interested, they can't jump right into that spot. You right up front have a premier spot when they're a new
Right.
vendor.
Right.
We've got to take care of our vendors that are there, move them off to the side, move Dieter down, you know.
Right.
That's what we gotta do, we gotta treat our vendors that are loyal to us and pay, and are there by the policy, we gotta take care of, you know.
And the problem with his, one, not knowing where it is, and two, with his cell phone, he doesn't have voicemail. So I can't leave him a message and ask him to call.
Right,
You
right.
can call him as many times as you want. You just gotta hope that he answers the.
Yeah.
Have you seen him?
No,
Can you text them?
I haven't seen him since
No,
the middle of last year, I never saw him at all last year.
no, I saw him once at Shaw's, well, 9 months ago,
You're right.
and he was in tough shape.
He was, his phone was not good the last time I talked.
And I talked to his daughter, and he's in bad shape. He's not gonna, he's an optimist.
are you able to reach his daughters? Can somebody reach out and just basically say?
Maybe.
I think we need to, you know.
Spearhead.
So if you have,
Been going
have her
on.
contact information. You know, forward it to me and I'll try to
Right,
reach.
so I'll tell Linda when I get home tonight, and maybe she get a better idea, I'll get a hold of him, and.
if someone was interested in it, I would think he'd be a little bit more inclined to get back to us too.
sounds like there's no way to tell him to get back to us.
What's I'm just saying, if we still reached out to,
To
the family, a little business and.
Yes,
Because I mean, we just can't have that happen another year, I mean, it's just been.
no,
Dragging
I
on.
agree. I agree, it, you know, it shouldn't have been open, or it shouldn't have been there this year.
Right, last year.
The railroad car, I noticed has left, but that's coming back,
Coming back.
I saw it go by,
Yeah.
yeah, in November.
and that's a plus, in my opinion, for that waterfront.
It's good to have it down there.
Yeah, it's a real information center, talk about ships, talk about the town, in my opinion. But I think they'll be back,
Any other new?
That was the plan when they took it off.
yeah, oh, I'm sure they'll be back.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting?
Seconded? All right.
I got